Here we go at the supermarket. No rice. Before, this row here would have all the 2 kilo bags. The 5 kilo bags, sorry. The bottom row would be all 10 kilo bags. There's nothing. And then around here, this used to be all 10 kilos, and they'd be stacked up to about this high, you know. So they'd be all 10 kilo bags. You'd have about 4 or 5 rows of 10 kilo bags. Now there's absolutely nothing. No rice at all. Just these little tiny packs. Hello and welcome back to the channel. So today I thought I'd have a talk about this no rice. You can't buy rice for love nor money. So one of the reasons is, around my area especially, they're growing less rice. Here they've got a lot of soya bean growing and there's not a real lot of rice. So stay with me and I'm going to show you a bit around my area, especially where I live, and explain to you why we have the rice shortage. First off, I'm going to have a quick look at this professional farmer who's got his setup right here. So I'm going to have a bit of a look at that, and then join me as we go for a walk around my area and I'll explain about the 3 or 4 reasons why I think there is no rice. Now this is a farming place. This guy here, he rents land off different people, and then he grows the soybean, rice, all that sort of stuff, wheat, and then he pays them for the use of the land. So in here they got the silos for harvesting for drying the rice and that sort of thing. But it's a very big setup. You know, he has a lot of machinery. This is a machinery shed here, so he's got machines in here. It's a big setup. He's got a lot of money invested in here. Yeah, so much money. These are all his harvesters. That one's for wheat and that, but these ones here are for rice. They're going to harvest rice, so oiling them up and greasing them up and getting them all ready. But he's got sprayers and all sorts of things, tractors. You know, he has so much money invested in this. But here we got soybeans here too. You know, here's a tractor with a trailer, so they'll put the harvester on the back of the tractor and take it around to different places. Then they need the truck when they fill up, when they harvest and they get enough rice in the harvester, they put it into the truck. Then they'll bring it here, put it into the silos so they can dry it and do different things with it. So, you know, he's invested a hell of a lot of money into getting all this set up. So he's got a lot of land he rents off places. Usually they pay him in rice. So, you know, if he rents some land off a person, depending on how much he's got, how much land he uses, how much yield he gets, he'll give him so many bags of rice. So they usually work on that sort of system. Instead of money, they'll usually get rice. Okay, here we've got rice growing here. Next door they've had rice they've already harvested it by the look of it. Nah, still growing. It's be a fair bit yet before it's ready to harvest, probably October. Now this is one of my father-in-law's rice fields. So they're growing soya bean on here again. Now, he used to grow rice here. He's got 3. He's got one here, one down there, and another one way over here. So he used to grow his own rice, but getting old and that, he rents them out now. So he rents them out to JA. They come and do it, and then they give him rice tickets, and then he just takes them up to the JA and they give him bags of rice. So it works out okay for him. So he never has to buy rice. So he gets, I don't know how many tickets he gets a year. So even though they're growing soya bean here, he'll still get rice tickets. So here we've got rice here growing, and over here. But when I came to Japan, it was all rice. There was no other crop. It was just full on rice. Now, I've been talking to the farming place around the corner, and I asked him about it, and he told me that they don't get paid a lot of money for the rice. They can make more money growing wheat and the soya beans. So now they're doing a lot of that instead of growing rice because they can make more money. So he's got so much tied up in that business with all the machinery and staff and everything. So the more money he can make, the better off he is. Now see, on this side of the road, we're back to all soybean again. So why I think we've got the big rice shortage, I think there's three main reasons. First, last year wasn't such a good harvest. They had bad weather, so a lot of the rice got wasted and destroyed and that sort of thing. So that's one thing. Another thing is, like this, people aren't growing as much rice as they used to, you know, especially around my area. Other areas could be different. Like I went down to Toyohashi yesterday and I didn't see any soybean being grown. It was all rice. Where around my area, we got a lot of soya. So I think that's another reason. People are trying to get paid as much as they can. Now this is the guy across the road from me. He's got a bit of soya going, but not much. So I don't know how much money you make off there. But that's the thing. They're trying to get as much paid as much as they can. Now the other thing is tourism. This is supposed to be a big thing too. This year they've had something like 34 million tourists come to Japan. Because the yen's weak, when the yen was strong and that, people would only stay for a few days or a week and that. Now the yen's weak, they can get a lot better value for the money. So people are staying for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month, and having a good time. Here we've got rice here. This is rice both sides of the road here. And over there we've got rice. But, so they're eating more rice. So you get 34 million people, they can eat a fair bit of rice, I suppose. So, you know, that's what's happening here. Oh, here we got one of these ferrets. Little ferret here. He's going to duck into the rice. They call him Hitachi. So he's ducked into the rice there. Little ferret. Weasel or something like that it is. Yeah. Anyway, up here they've harvested rice up here. So that is another thing that with the tourism, people staying longer, they're eating more rice. So with the bad harvest and not producing as much rice, you know, we've sort of run out. So now you go to a supermarket and it's very hard to buy rice. I haven't seen a 10 kilo bag of rice for ages, where before that's all we used to buy was 10 kilo bag. You'd buy a 10 kilo bag for about 3,400 to 600 yen usually. Now you're paying about 2,600 to 800 yen for a 5 kilo bag of rice. So you're getting half the rice and nearly the same amount of money. So, you know, it's just got more expensive, less rice. So now they're harvesting, so I think that it will improve soon once they harvest it, dry it out and get it bagged up and start selling it again. I think it will improve. But this year's been so hot too. August, it was like 37, 38 degrees every day around here. So what the yield of rice is going to be this year, if it's going to be a good yield or not, I'm not sure. See here, we're starting to get the rice here. You can see the rice coming here. So this is all just new rice. It's got a bit to go before it's ready to harvest. So yeah, it's a bit of a problem. It's a bit of a problem. I think also why they don't grow as much rice too, the diet's changed a lot. When I come to Japan 30 years ago, people used to have rice for breakfast. They'd have rice and miso soup for breakfast. Now a lot of people have bread for breakfast, so they grow more wheat. There's a bit more market for wheat because people eating bread, there's a bit more. This is another one of the father-in-law's rice fields. They're growing rice on this one. It's only a small one. It's only just tiny little one. The one down yonder, it's bigger. But yeah, so this is the problem we're having with the rice. So next year, who knows what it's going to be like. We could be in the same situation. And also another thing, there's another point too. This is when the shortage really happened. They had the earthquake down in Miyazaki at the beginning of August. They had the earthquake down there, 7 point something. And then they were expecting a tsunami, which never happened. And then there was talk about a mega earthquake going to happen. So people started panic buying rice. So they were buying so much rice, and I think that's what happened too. I think that was a big factor. And then there was a big typhoon that was coming through, so people were sort of packing up, stocking up on rice then. So, you know, they panic buy, and this is what happens. So I think that was another big factor to the rice shortage, was this panic buying. And this mega earthquake, that was all you heard for about a week. This mega earthquake was coming. But they've been talking about a mega earthquake around this area ever since I've been to Japan for 30 years, you know. And they were talking about it before then. Probably for the last 50 years they've been talking about a big earthquake going to happen here. But, you know, like, if they have a big earthquake, you got no water, you got no electricity, how are you going to eat, how are you going to cook rice, you know? So, that's another thing, when they were talking about the mega earthquake and that, water, bottled water just disappeared out of the supermarkets. You couldn't buy water for love nor money, it was just gone, you know. So rice and water. It was the same when Corona started. You couldn't buy toilet paper. Everyone was panicking buying toilet paper. You couldn't get toilet paper for love nor money, you know. Same thing, people go crazy, you know. They used to do the same in Australia when there was talk of a petrol strike. Oh, there's a Hitachi, he just went back into the bushes there, into the rice. Yeah, it was the same thing, you know, people would be panicking buying and filling up jerry cans and that, and then you couldn't get any petrol, you know. There was none left, everyone had bought it all. So, you know, people, if they just use stuff as they needed it, I think we'd be a lot better off. But people get greedy, or they go a bit crazy, you know. Oh, there's a lot of these Hitachi. I just seen another one duck in. There's a big family of them living in here. So they're like a ferret or a weasel or whatever they are. I'm not exactly sure what they are, but they're cute little critters. Anyway, that's my thoughts on this rice shortage, you know. So I think farmers are growing less, especially around my area. We had the mega earthquake warning, which did a lot of damage. Everyone started panicking buying. What else? We had bad season last year, so we didn't get as much harvest because of, you know, the season wasn't good. And tourism. There's been so many people coming to Japan, and they're staying longer because it's cheap. You know, like, you come from America, Australia, you're getting good value for your money. Like Australia, everything's so expensive, you know. Where you come here, it's quite cheap. You know, in Australia, you can't get a meal for 10 bucks. Here you can. So, you know, it's really good value. So there's been a lot more tourism. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. Until next time, that's all. So if you can, leave a comment, and I'd be interested to read your comments, and I'll comment on them. So that's my thoughts on the rice problem. Anyway, till next time, that's all for now.